Alright, so, story 4, Escape from the Factory. You mean to tell me I just went through that entire level, and now we want to leave the place we found? Great. Are you sure there's nothing good down here? Positive? Alright. You know, these sections are really easy. They're just there to make sure you're patient, and also to terrify you if you're a child. I'm pretty sure that's what that's about. Why is my nose bleeding? Oh, whatever. Alright, we got a silver coin, that's good. Do I have fewer coins than I did before? Well, whatever. Anyway, I mean, like, I have a bunch thanks to that silver coin, but I don't know, something just feels weird. I don't think I re-recorded from this point or anything. Wouldn't just do a take from the middle of the stage. Alright, so we are in unfamiliar territory, but in a familiar situation. So let's get Wario crushed under the weight of this thing, and this guy respawns, but we don't want him to. We don't want to be uncrushed just yet, we need to get to the top of this room. Alright, so with this, I think it's pretty simple to get to the exits. And let's get water dropped on us so we can finish. Wait, shoot, I didn't get the treasure, did I? Wait. Oh yeah, there's the pipe. There's where my pipe's at. And we also got the treasure map? Huh. Alright, time for stage or a new stage? Alright, well, Syrup has to give commands to her followers to just cross a treadmill. They seem very worried about it. Oh, I gotta run! You know, the way this plays out feels like the introduction to a Mario vs. Donkey Kong stage. Oh, and Wario just impaled himself on spikes. Wow, damn. Wario got outplayed by the comically inept spear guy. Alright, welcome to the final chapter? Alright, so apparently after getting kicked out of the factory, we've wound up back in the building type area, which... Okay, so I like this stage a lot more than the other one we were in, because it's... it feels a little less, I guess, cluttered? It's definitely less complex, but it's still the same kind of setup of weaving through bits of the building. But again, it's more straightforward, and it's a lot smaller. Fewer enemy puzzles as well. We gotta get fewer power-ups. Alright, but we do have these guys who will attempt to freeze Wario with their icy breath. Which isn't exactly gonna help me here, so I'm just gonna have to avoid them. And you probably gonna be trouble, except I despawned you, so go me. I'll wait for you to go again, and you actually have enough time between breaths that I can just do that. Alright, so that's simple enough, but that's our intro to these snowmen enemies. They are typically more of an obstacle, though. They do have the potential to help for puzzles, considering they give you iframes, but that's not true here. And hey, look at that, it's our old friend the fisherman. That is fisherman as in, he is a fish, who is also a man who fishes. But he does fish for Wario. Alright, just got a simple enough section of avoid the spearmen. Easy enough. Try not to bump him either, you don't want to be flung into those spikes. It's a pretty easy opportunity to grab just a bunch of coins, so not losing any in the process of doing so would be preferable. Alright, so more of you. So, in this case, there's really no reason to get hooked on these guys. Unlike the other time where we wanted to do that to get to one of the secret passages, this mostly just loops back in on itself. They'll bring you back to an earlier point of the stage. Oh, we got guys throwing things from windows. And... Yep, didn't run into that. So yeah, I'm glad that even in this building, those men have found ways to just remain in window. You know what? Good for them. If they want to just chuck stuff at Wario from a window, I'm glad they're able to. Honestly, someone should. Being said, I need you to be gone, and also I do need you to give me that money. Please and thank you, give me your 100 coins. So... I feel like the previous worlds were united more by... I would say, like, how to put this, like... their level curve more than anything, I guess? Like, Wario's castle obviously had a unified theme, that being Wario's castle, and it was able to mix things up because of the various things you had to do to clear out Wario's castle. So that was a cool idea, and made for a pretty unified theme. But it's also just unified by being the beginning of the game, and therefore having some easier secrets to find, easier puzzles in general, that sort of thing. But then SST Cup was a lot of different level types that mostly felt like they are here to ramp things up and make the level design a little more complicated. Same thing goes for Maze Woods, though technically it's all bound by being the woods for the most part. I know, I already said, like, I'm not the biggest fan, bottom right, of the woods as a theme, because it feels kinda weak. I don't know, the background is just a little too simplistic for the most part. Oh hey, Wario's got a computer. Now he can browse the internet. This might be the beginning of WarioWare. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I guess Maze Woods is technically unified, but I don't know, just the theming feels kinda weak. To be fair, the city has also felt like... I like the theme of the city more than Maze Woods, because again, Maze Woods is a little generic, it's just, here's a grassland, but there are trees in the background, and they're not even that good of trees, so I don't know, I just see that as grassland stage again. But it is also thematically all about using animals to your advantage, which is also a difficulty curve thing of you have to use, like, outside aspects to Wario to move around. Let's see, so... Oh wow, that's just going. Alright, well that's clearly a 6th. I don't need you to keep draining my money. Please, I know what a 6 is, though I don't think I've seen that many in this game so far. And I feel like it's usually just a counterpoint to, like, 5 or something. It's there to trick me into thinking that I'm getting a different number, but then I don't. But yeah, City World, or City Chapter, or whatever you want to call it, is more, like, urban, town theme, that sort of thing, but it's had a lot of variance in it. The reason I'm bringing this up, though, is I feel like a lot of these stages are kinda samey, in terms of their aesthetic. They don't vary as wildly as, like, Urban does for, you know, Chapter 4. Where that can mean a bunch of things, which is different places in town, and also a factory, which feels very different. It can also mean a train. Here it's just, hey, here's that building theme from before. And now we're back in the factory, and it's just gonna be more difficult factory stages for the rest of it. So, a little bit samey in terms of what it's actually doing for level aesthetics. It's all more unified. But I think that it also has a lot of unifying factors in just the way it plays, which I want to say is, like, just more difficult jumps, right? Like, this one is very much a platforming challenge as compared to a lot of the other stages in this game, which are more treasure collection. Not to say there's no treasure collection here, but I feel like there's just a lot more pressure in the way you platform. And if I had gotten drunk there, the pressure would be platform while drunk, idiot. So I don't know, yeah, like, it's hard to find a set of stages in a chapter in this game that are all completely just mono-aesthetic, or just one level type. Cause they do a decent job of changing it up, even the other ones. Like, for as much as I criticize Maze Woods, I do still like the fact that it starts with the SS teacup backgrounds. That's cool. There aren't a lot of chapters in this game on Wario's way to Syrup Castle, so I feel like, to me, Stage 2 kind of, third top, I feel like the second chapter really stands out to me in terms of, like, what the game is. Just a lot of varied levels that are more about, like, picking up the pace and how the game is played and obfuscating some of the secrets a bit more. But yeah, as for this chapter in general, how much I enjoy it, I do actually kind of like the platforming in this one. I like the level design of this. This one's a bit of a maze stage. There are certain rooms where you kind of want to stay near the top, and if you don't, you go down below, where there's treasure, and then rooms that connect to other rooms, and in spaces you might not have been able to access to get more treasure. So, I say you do want to stay near the top, but thinking about it, you do actually want to go to the bottom. You do actually want to go to the bottom. Now granted, if you're speedrunning the game and you don't care about money for whatever reason, if you're just doing like a game clear version of a playthrough, you do want to stay near the top, but until then, go collect stuff down below. This is of course another one of those stages where I am grateful to myself for playing with maps, because that just makes the stage a lot more easy to parse. Oh, also this one. Okay, so normal platforming is more difficult. This one demands you know the ins and outs of just how flat Wario floats. So this section right here took me a little while to do, because I kept messing up the jump here. So we want to fall, and then instead of bashing up against the side there, we do want to go back and forth, and then, yeah, you just want to hook around that set of platforms the way I did. You just want to sort of float one way, back the other, and then into it, kind of. It's kind of hard to describe when it's not currently happening, I'm sorry. I also feel like when I finally got it, it was just luck. I did a bunch of different things that felt like they should have been right, but they weren't. But it was just a matter of repeating again and again until I finally figured out how I was supposed to do it. That's 5. It's a very tricky setup, honestly. Considering you can't die, it's not a huge walk of shame back around to get to that jump again. So if you mess up, it's a little bit of time consumed, but not too much. Which is good, because you're gonna mess that one up. That is a very finicky section. Alright, Move Through the Water is our next story, and it's kind of a boring title. I mean, it does describe what we're doing, but, I feel like the other titles in this game have been so good. Look, find a hen is a very specific goal that you don't forget about. You are not going to forget that Wario Land 2 has a stage where you find a hen. Cause, like, that's just a very specific prompt. That's what the game asks you to do. No other game's gonna ask that of you. You literally never find hens in any other game. It's impossible. People need to stop asking, can you pet the dog? And start asking, well, are there any hens, though, whatsoever? I bet not. The Chicken Run game was a real disaster. I did not know what to do with that one. Alright, so the gimmick of this stage is pretty much just, you hit switches and that will remove some of the currents in the water. However, that will also block off certain areas because it's a block switch as well. So, it's a case of, we're going to need to flip it back and forth. Which makes sense because if it would either have to be, like, a current on and off thing anyway, like, certain currents activate when you hit the block, the switch rather, because otherwise you just hit the switch once, and then all currents would be off forever, and I don't think they would want that as level design, unless there's like one switch that we had to spend most of the level looking for, and then it'd just go from there. And then it's just smooth sailing through the rest of the water. Alright, but yeah, see, right there are no blocks. We cannot get to that door. Wario needs to stand on something. He has to, it's required. Alright, so by activating this current... Well, there's not a current here, but farther upstream there will be. Activating the faucet will have blocks under that one door. Alright, so we got another Hammer Kong. Now you want to be careful in this one. This isn't exactly the trickiest set of jumps, but there are spikes near the top, so... if you overspring, then you're going to fly straight into the spikes and get damaged. But there is some good treasure up there that we want to keep an eye out for. It's just you don't want to be hopping for it. So let's just scoot out of here. Yeah, this is the stuff we want, but if you're a spring, you really can't avoid running into those, the spikes. Oh, I want to be over there, and you will not deny me that request, no matter how heavy you are. Alright, so we're actually pretty near the end of the stage, if I remember correctly. A lot of the stages in this chapter are pretty short. Really, if this one didn't have the switch gimmick, it would be over in an instant. Alright, ooh, here we go, though. This one has a pretty tricky jump. So, we want someone to light us on fire. However, there's no place to, like, stick ourselves over there. So we actively have to run back and forth and do the correct jump timing in order to actually stay up here and be lit aflame. So yeah, like I said, I think this is very much the, skillful platforming final chapter. Not to say you don't need to be skilled at platforming for the rest of the game, but I don't think there are any jumps that are quite as tricky. Even in Chapter 4, even in town, I don't think the jumps were overly difficult. No, there were a few, definitely, especially with the guys throwing things from windows. But overall, I think that this definitely has the harder platforming. More consistently hard, definitely. There is more platforming, and it is difficult to do, almost every time. Alright, so now we've pressed the switch again, even though the exit was right there. So now we're able to play the minigame. It is kinda rude to send you all the way to the end and then say like, nope, there's one more switch. Keep on exploring the stage. What do we got? Second on the bottom? Nowhere near. What was second on the bottom? That was a duck. How did I mix up a duck in that horrible monstrosity? Anyway, Wario got an hourglass. Good for him. He has probably one of the worst ways to keep track of time nowadays. I mean, look, an hourglass is so specific. Do you really want an hourglass dictating all of your time limits? I need the 2-minute hourglass, and I need the 5-minute hourglass. And this one's supposed to be a 7-minute hourglass, but it's broken, so like it runs really fast, the sand gets through too quickly. Can't believe I have to keep upgrading my hourglasses every year, what the hell. I swear they make these things to fail. What do you mean Hourglass 13 doesn't have sand in it? Alright, well, anyway, that's the end of the stage. We had to leave briefly, but it was worth it for this hourglass. I guess, alternatively, maybe the computer we got earlier is now loading. It's loading up something, so then now the mouse is turned into that. Alright, so, what's next on the oddly fast puzzle? Nothing in the center, could be a 1 or a 7. Actually, it could have been a 0 as well, but now it can only be a 1 or a 7. Okay, it's definitely a 7. That one took a lot of panels. So many panels. Alright, well, we know for a fact we only have 2 stages left because there's only 2 panels left for some reason. At least on this side. There's a bunch more beforehand. Don't shock the owl. Don't you know you're gonna shock the owl? Shock the owl to life. Ba-ba-bwah. Alright, so... you've probably guessed already. This is a very owl-heavy stage. There's so much owl control in this one. As always, Wario just sort of looks on at the owl just with... it's hard to read that expression. That's sort of just like a curiosity, right? Wario's expecting to be dropped to his doom. He knows the owl is capable of it, and he knows the owl wants to. But has he managed to keep so much domination over this owl that the owl will not try to flex its freedom? It's all to be determined. Wario just watches on. He looks more interested than, like, fearful or anything. That this is not a fearful caution. Wario is not afraid for his life, because it will not end, even if the owl decides to drop him. And you know, I think the owl knows that, and that's why it's such a reliable partner. Quote-unquote. It doesn't want to be in a partnership, but it's forced to. It knows that if it betrays Wario, then its life will just be worse. It cannot kill Wario. Nothing can. If the gods themselves cannot strike Wario down, then what hope does the owl have? Absolutely none. Anyway, this is kind of a maze stage. It's honestly a really easy one to complete quickly. I guess that's the other theme of this batch of stages, is just... they are theoretically very fast, and if you ever want to just do a new game and replay these stages without treasure collection, you're going to get through them very quickly. If you know what you're doing, it's a simple matter. Now, Bubble doesn't wind up being that difficult, but they do manage to make it both a thing to solve a puzzle and an obstacle in the same room. So that's kind of like the other abilities. This is like how the other abilities are tricky. It really isn't. But they gotta do something, and the bubble's not exactly a complex mechanic. Alright, so the thing about this stage is, of course, there are a bunch of dead ends you want to acknowledge, but of course, if you want the maximum number of coins you can get, you do have to double back on yourself through the, old passages that would have led you over to certain places if you had taken them. To be fair, at least they are breadcrumbing pretty well. Do I want to loop through every single passage? No, not really. But like, there's coins in it for me, so I'm going to. I won't be happy about it, but I'll do it. Oh, and here we have that Wario. Okay, so how are we mixing this one up today? Well, it's definitely a case of certain spots you don't want to be enfattened by that cake. Like right here, you won't be able to jump up, and you don't need a shortcut down, so let's just avoid the cake, which is not really something I thought I would be saying, but alright. And another section here where, once again, there's a shortcut down, but I guess I'm saying shortcut in quotes because you don't want to go back down. You're done with down there. That is specifically a time waster if you get hit by a cake and then hit the ground and break it. We are done with that, though. How many other rooms are there? I'm trying to remember. I feel like we're almost done. Like, we still need to do the treasure room, I think. But we're also almost done with just the rooms in general. We won't need to do that many more dead-end rooms. We will, however, have to collect those up. And back we go. It is really hard to read that expression on Wario. I'm going to say it's surprisingly cruel, though, you know? Like, it looks kind of innocent, looks very unassuming, and yet he is toying with this bird's existence when he holds on to the owl. He is merely using this bird as a stepping stool for his own needs. And look, Wario knows just what the situation is as much as the owl does. He's on the up and up in that too. He knows the owl can kill him, but the owl won't. And he knows the owl despises it, and yet he doesn't care. Such things merely amuse Wario. Alright, so not much there, and up we go. I mean, it's where the arrow's telling me to go, and who am I to disagree with a wall arrow? I'd be a fool to do that. Even though I've kind of defied it this entire time, but that's for treasure. Okay, so in we go. Well, the exit's very excited, but I've still got some searching to do, first and foremost. Let's see, there's a door there. Bonk, and in we go. Alright, so this minigame once again. Let's see what we got. Well, I mean, we've got plenty of coins, that's for sure. Alright, we've got a fox. 2, 1... Bottom right? Hey, I got it! I think I typically look to the right first, because I feel like I more consistently get it there. Okay! Well, enough talking about that, because Wario got a Metroid. Oh, that's bad news. I'm pretty sure the Metroid LP started by now, so... I guess the Space Pirates weren't the only ones to get their hands on a Metroid. Also, quickly, here's an important note on enemy respawns. Treasure rooms will not respawn enemies. So I had to leave and come back in order to, first off, get up there, and second off, actually break this right here. Kinda screwed myself initially by killing that guy. But enemies will not permanently disappear. It's just, again, the treasure door won't respawn them. Anyway, I guess Wario has one of the universe's deadliest weapons. That's cool. I'm sure that's a totally great thing for him to have, and I don't fear for everyone. Alright, well, let's not think about that. Let's just think about how many coins we're going to lose figuring out what this number is. Probably a 0 or an 8? Oh, you're really gonna make me go through— oh god, you made me go through basically everything. Oh, that's smart. I'm still above 9,000 coins, so that's good. I didn't drop a 1,000 threshold, but like, ugh. All but the last one, that's just rude. Alright, well, here we go. Final story, awaiting syrup. So is the lesson here that we're building the fight up with syrup in our head and that the real match could never be as exciting? I hope it is. I really do pity her. Though I also pity Wario to a certain extent being set on fire all the time. Then again, maybe he does deserve it. I mean, look, I don't think anyone should be immolated. That's my hot take, or cold take in this case, I guess. But, you know, I'm against setting people on fire in the general terms, but... I mean, to be fair, Wario's not an ordinary person. We've covered this extensively. This could be considered a form of torture. Oh well, anyway though. Right, so factory stage. I am... not remembering this one super well. This must be a pretty short one because... yeah, I'm not remembering it. We've got the crushy ceiling. This definitely seems like it's kind of just made up of parts of the previous levels. It's got various aspects of all of them. It's got water, it's got crushy platforms, it's got falling platforms. It has it all. It's got guys trying to make us drunk, sorry, crazy. I mean, that's not a bad way to go about your final level. You just kind of incorporate aspects from the rest of the stage into it. I guess it must not always be entirely too difficult, though. I mean, there's definitely a hard part, believe me. I do remember a difficult part of the stage, but that's the boss, not this. Yeah, this stage I just don't find super memorable. I guess it could be the aforementioned sameness of all the stages kinda coming back in full force, like... we are at the point where we've hit our 4th factory stage in a row, and they look okay, but I'm not overly enamored with them. That and the fact that, like, the music's not super great either. I don't really remember this song that well. It is not the most memorable. Left. Got him. Alright, well my hit rate's actually been pretty good for these. Oh, Wario's got a Game Boy. Now he can play this game. Wouldn't that be wild? Maybe the universe would explode in on itself if he did that, and we'd all be better off. Anyway, so now that we've done the treasure game, let's collect a few more coins real quick. I'm not going through every one of these passages, though. You can't make me. I'm sorry. I will not do it. You do need spring in order to get up here, though, so if I could just get another swig of that spring juice, that'd be great. Yeah, let me just get a shot of that bone destruction juice. Everybody is so afraid of the bone hurting juice, but it could be so much worse. Your entire body could be turned into coils. Alright, so here's the boss room. Like I said, short stage, however, we do need to fuck up and come down here in order to get all of the coins we might want. Because there is more stuff down here. Now, you might want to actually try to fight the boss first, because I'm gonna level with you. There's a pretty good chance you're not gonna beat the boss in one go. Probably not 2 goes either. Perhaps not even 3 goes, because we have Syrup and the Egg-O-Matic. So, first phase is very easy. You just ram her cockpit a bunch and then it blows up. So now she's going to start sending down bombs. If these hit you, you will go careening into the abyss, so do not let them explode. However, it's really difficult to find the right timing to actually throw these. This is after a lot of practice, but they explode pretty quickly. Of course, if they explode in your hand, that's it, you lose. You fall off the platform. But yeah, no, these are like some of the heaviest NPCs in the game. So like, activating the throw in the first place is hard. Being in the correct position is also something you really need to make note of. It is a tricky fight that is all about making you repeat it over and over again. Thankfully, returning to the boss is really easy. That wasn't a particularly long section we had to do, but nonetheless, you're probably going to be thrown in the pit a lot while you try to learn it. Alright, that has to be 9, doesn't it? Yeah, no, that has to be 9. I don't think we've gotten a 9 so far, have we? Has this not been a Cherno safe playthrough until now? Huh. That's weird to think about. If we did get a 9, then it's been a while since we've got a 9, but I can't remember any in recent memory. Like, I don't think there was a 9 in SST Cup, or Maze Woods, or The Town, or Syrup Tower? We haven't been to Syrup Tower. What about the Uncanny Mansion? Wait. What am I thinking of an Uncanny Mansion? We haven't been to a mansion world yet. Don't wink at me, Wario. I don't trust that. Okay, but between all this and, like, the map already being filled out, something's wrong here. I don't know what could be. Like, this is the end of the game, sure, but, like, something just feels so wrong. Alright, I'm just gonna back away slowly.